Audacious Kids, I am loving our Armour of God series. Now we've just seen the flat cap of all right, but today we're focusing on the helmet of salvation for ultra protection. And I'd like to model it for you right now because the helmet of salvation is way better, isn't it? I think this is a good look for me. Here we go. Well, protection of our head is absolutely important. I have come to realise I've had a few near misses in my lifetime of not very many years because I'm only 15 years old. Joke. And there's been a few times where I have absolutely needed the protection on my head. The first instance was when I chose not to wear a helmet, which was very silly of me, was when I was scootering. And let me tell you, I had the scooter, I had the speed, the tricks were coming on and a little whoops as we're going to do the jumps. But in my cockiness and in my super speed, the scooter slipped, the wheels skidded, and I fell on the floor, kapla, and I was literally knocked out. And I was so annoyed at myself that I didn't wear protection on my head. Silly Sarah. And literally, I was knocked out. And for like 4 days, I was like, whoa, what day is it? Because I've not even protected my head. How silly am I? And then there was another time, and I think I may have told you this before, but growing up I had horses, and I did have my riding hat on, my helmet of protection one day. And we were riding in a forest, and me and my friends decided that we were going to go low under the trees with the horses, and it was such a great adventure. Until my friend on a smaller pony in front of me just decided to go into a lower branch, and I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to have to lean really low down in order to not knock my head off. But in this moment, as I'm bending down under a really low branch, me and my pony Echo got stuck. We were stuck under the branch, and so it was so good that I'd remembered to wear my riding hat, my helmet of protection, because I literally was stuck under and my head was rammed against the branch. So today, part of our armour that God has given to us is a helmet of salvation for protection. Now, we all need protection when we're riding in fast cars or in vehicles. And do you wear your helmet when you do these things? When you're riding a bike, riding a scooter, motorbike? I'm sure somebody here has got a motorbike. And that's right, we wear a helmet so that we don't hurt our head. And that's why soldiers wear them too. They put a helmet on so their head is protected. And they have to wear a helmet to protect themselves in battle. And as we've been learning, we're in a spiritual battle against the enemy, against the devil. And God has given us the armour, the helmet to protect ourselves as well. And one of our most important body parts is our head. And one of the most important pieces of the spiritual armour is the helmet of salvation. There we go, our helmet of salvation. Salvation is when Jesus comes into our lives and takes away our sin. Now, some of you here may call yourself a Christian, and you may have said the salvation prayer already and invited Jesus to be part of your life. But if you've not, salvation is when we invite Jesus into our life, when he saves us from eternity without him. And salvation is the greatest gift we could ever receive, because it took Jesus dying on the cross for us so that we could go to heaven. And all we have to do is, number one, accept. Can you say accept that we are sinners? Number two, we need to believe. Can you say believe? Believe that Jesus died for our sins. And number three, we need to confess. Can you say confess? Confess our sins to him. Then we get to spend an eternity forever with God. 1 Thessalonians says, but let us who live in the light be clear-headed, so to be able to think straight, protected by the armour and love, and wearing as our helmet the confidence of our salvation. And salvation is represented in the helmet because it protects our thinking. Now, we don't need to walk around with an actual helmet on all the time, but this is putting the protection of God, the protection of knowing Jesus over our body and over our mind. We are confident that we will spend forever with God because he has saved us through Jesus. And sometimes when we sin, the devil tries to convince us that God won't love us anymore, and it affects our thinking. We're like, but nobody loves us anymore because we've done something wrong. And that can make us think, well, if we've sinned, then we're not saved anymore, we're not Christians anymore. And the devil tries to have that fight with our brains, with our mind, in that battle. And when he makes us feel like we've lost, when we're defeated, and that nobody loves us, and that we can't be, if we're not a good person, we can't be a Christian, and we can't have a friendship with Jesus. When he tries to convince us that we are lost, we need to remember what it says in Romans. And it says, no. Can you say no? No. Despite all these things, I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No power in the sky or earth below. Nothing in all creation can separate us from God loving us. And we need to protect our head, our thoughts, our mind with that truth. And these verses make it very clear to us that no matter what we do, once we've put on the helmet of salvation, the protection, so friendship with Jesus, when we can call ourselves a Christian, that we are winners through Christ, that we have the victory. And because with Jesus, we can win against sin. And salvation is a free gift. Now, it's way better than the gift I've got in here. Salvation is a free gift from God to each one of us. All we need to do is accept. We need to believe. We need to confess. We get to choose to become Christians, to be part of God's family, to be a part of his awesome rescue plan. So Audacious Kids, put on the armour, put on the salvation. If you don't yet know Jesus, then there's an opportunity today to put on your helmet of salvation and invite Jesus into your life. And with all of our armour on, we can stand firm.